Sam, you used to be in PR.
I did indeed, yeah.
What would you do for Prince Andrew?
Well, do you know what? I was thinking about this, obviously. I
did not tell him what I was going to ask him, by the way.
But I would tell him to throw everyone under the bus, basically.
Well, I think he should lead.
Talk to the FBI.
Yeah.
And tell them everything he knows. Like, basically, Jeffrey's gone, so he can throw him under the bus as much as he likes.
Yeah.
So I would suggest to him, in order to keep his own status, which has obviously been sadly tarnished, I would say, well, he's still a member of the royal family.
But he's been sacked. His mum sacked him.
Well, he's still His Royal Highness.
Being sacked by your mum takes some doing.
No, he's just grounded by his mum. That's all.
Can I make it a point? I'm a big royalist. I think that this country needs our royal family.
We do, absolutely.
And I think the young ones are doing a really great job in modernising it and making it relevant. But is he the thickest person ever, Dawn?
Oh.
Yes.
I'll come to you in a minute,
They're
Gemma.
pale.
I told you, always talking.
Right?
Yes.
They're pale, male and stale. That's what they are.
I beg your pardon.
Pale, male and stale.
Are you having a go at me again? Right.
If the shoe fits.
But I've actually watched that interview with him now 3 times. It is car crash. I can't stop because in the royal family, there's a lot of thick going on, but he gives thick a whole new meaning in that one, doesn't he? I mean, he is just. It was just like, whoa, no, shut up. Only your PR. It's like, no, shut up. Who briefed him on that? Who gave him the questions?
Yeah.
Who gave him he should have been rehearsed. Every time he opened his mouth, he dug a bigger hole for himself.
Yeah.
And then the fact he wanted to do another interview on top of it.
Well, it's the fact that apparently after the interview at first, he was like, well,
You
that
couldn't
went
really
really
couldn't
well.
wait to get in, could
That
you?
went really well.
You couldn't. Right, hold on. We're now going to hear from Jemma Forte.
I didn't realise we had to be invited to speak.
No, you don't, but I just want to keep control of you because
Okay.
what comes out of your mouth worries me sometimes.
I think that whilst the horrific scandal is obviously abominable, and it is so sad for those young girls who were trafficked by Epstein and et cetera, I'm glad that that interview with Andrew happened because it's exposed what I've always thought, which is that he's a useless, chinless wonder. He shouldn't be on the civil list. So he's got this, he had this company that was all about, trying to promote starter businesses. He went out to New Zealand, paid for by the taxpayer, first class, of course. And he turned up, it had all been promoted. Do you know how many people turned up to see him? One, okay? So I don't think Prince Andrew now, living the life of Riley in some big house in Windsor, is a great loss to society.
You don't think next year we'll see him in the jungle?
I hope not. I really do. I never want to see his face ever
They're
again.
not allowed to.
The whole thing stinks. And ideally, those daughters should be off the civil list as well. They're multimillionaires anyway.
Well, one of us married a millionaire and the other one's about
And then she still wanted a carriage, didn't
Now-
she?
Yes,
Paid for
yeah,
by the
yeah.
state.
What I don't understand about this is why doesn't he just say no when he gets asked if he had sex with a 17-year-old? Right? Why doesn't he just say no? Why does he say, I was in the Pizza Express and I remember it because I don't normally mingle with peasants? I mean,
He's trying to make up a story, basically, that sounds believable.
ridiculous.
He's been advised by lawyers, hasn't he? Because if you say I can't, I
Not very
can't
well,
recollect.
apparently.
Well, no, because
Right.
if you deny something emphatically and then it's proven to be a lie, then you're in big trouble. So if you say I can't remember, you haven't lied.
it makes him look so guilty.
But the Queen has had this thing all her life: never complain, never explain.
Guys,
And
that
she
is-
has lived by that.
That is it. I never want to hear Prince Andrew's name mentioned near me again. I don't want to think of him as a member of the royal family. I do not want to hear. That's it. All right. Can you go with that?
agree with you,
Fine.
James.
Okay.
Prince Andrew, Prince Andrew. Sorry.
Why are you always like that?
Sorry.
Who are they going to replace him with? Are they going
They
to
don't
get
need to
someone out
replace
of
him.
town just to come in and do the
We
job?
don't need him
Plenty of
replaced.
them, to be fair.
If they need anything doing, my friend Sam here is a big fan of the Queen, and I think he would be delighted to do
He's a
it.
big fan of the Queen, did you say?
No, be
misheard
careful.
you.
Be careful. Ricky, the Remainer. We haven't talked about Brexit, and we've probably not. But Ricky, of course, is a Remainer, and he gets a lot of stick.
Whoa. I'm like you. I flip-flop every other week. This week, I'm a Brexiteer. Last week, I was a
really?
Remainer.
I thought last week you were a Brexiteer. This week you're...
Well, a Remainer.
Yeah. Oh, right,
I
okay,
take
fine.
it in turns.
Yeah, well,
I
there
just
we
do,
are.
I do whatever you do.
Yeah. Carry on.
We'll start off with Jeff, 1961. He says, Prince Andrew should never have agreed to doing the interview. I can't believe the palace approved it. Carolyn on Facebook, she says, is Fergie behind it all? Why was she invited back to the palace this week? Which is an interesting question. Why was she back at the palace this week? I thought they divorced decades ago, didn't they?
They're friends.
They're friends, but why is she in the palace?
Why not? It's a good place to stop over, I would have thought, when you're in London.
2 days after the worst interview in, since 1968 or something like that from the royal family.
Probably just wanted to go and make sure she wasn't going to be mentioned in anything as well.
I reckon she's egged him on, told him to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I don't want to hear about this man again. I beg your pardon. Come here. Just come over here a minute.
Me?
Yeah, just hop out of that set. Come over here. Just come over here.
Ooh.
Come on, quick, quick.
Oh, Ricky, what you done?
Stand next to me and look into this camera.
Yeah.
You're right. The producer talks to me non-stop. I wish he'd shut up sometimes. He said the other day, you were trying to look like me, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Can you tell? I've also whacked my head as well.
Have you?
Yeah. I just do whatever you do.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
I'm so tempted to do something really radical now. Stop smiling. And, but I'm not.
Okay.
So look, it's flattering, okay, but worrying in the same way, wouldn't you say?
Father and son.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The hairline's receding already.
Yeah. Well, shave it off. Mine's getting very long. I might even grow a pigtail. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, if I can't make anything, Ricky the Remainer will come along and do it. Good. Now, shall we talk?
Back in your box, Ricky.
Shall we talk about the election debate at the beginning? Well, no, I think we should. I think we have to talk about it from a Russian point of view. Konstantin, from a Russian point of view, what did you think of it? Did it make you feel warm and cuddly that democracy is alive and well in this country?
Well, it's nice to see. I have to say, as a Russian, I really admire Jeremy Corbyn. I feel like the KGB could interrogate him for a week. We still wouldn't find out what his position on Brexit is. It's pretty crazy. You're going to have to balance this up now with somebody, are you? Is that?
Well, I think, the problem is that you listened to both of them, and I really don't think you found anything out that we didn't already know.
Yeah, they
Balance
both
has
lost
been
in a way,
restored.
didn't they?
I thought the format was awful because the questions were quite good from the audience, but nothing was really talked about in any depth. So really you just got the usual slogans, the sound bites from both of them. So there was nothing really interesting at all by the end of it, and I thought she rushed them on too much.
Well, that would have been the producer. But interestingly enough, maybe your guys back in Moscow are not working hard.
I'm really being stereotyped here, aren't I? I live right next to him and Ken. So what are my guys in London?
I don't know. I mean, I keep
But
being
actually,
told.
you make a good point and a serious point on this issue, which is we get very down on democracy in this country at the moment. We complain about it. But actually, all the debates that we're having, I mean, this is democracy. And if you don't want this, then you have what we have in Russia, which is something completely different, which is somewhere where none of us would want to live. So in a way, I actually think this is quite a healthy situation. And the host came out of it very well, didn't she?
Yeah.
The debate?
Well, I don't know that she did actually.
Don't you?
I thought, given the format she had to work with, I thought she did a good job. It was an impossible format to work with.
The format was ridiculous, and you should have said no. You cannot, on a program like that. First of all, they should have got rid of the commercials. They do for a football match.
Yes,
Why didn't they do it for that?
And
the clapping is annoying.
It was awful.
But soundbite then clap.
And then
Soundbite clap.
Jeremy Corbyn missed about 3 open goals to do something interesting. And Boris Johnson, I got to the point, if he says oven ready again, I'm going to go put my head in one.
Oven ready.
I was like, you're comparing unpicking
Chickens.
40 years of trade deals to a lasagna. I just stop it.
We were playing Brexit bingo at home, watching it. So we had all little squares, and I had oven ready on mine.
drinking
And
game,
every time they said, the phrase that was on your thing, you had to take a shot.
Would you like? I'd like to have seen them actually in a free-for-all. Could have had a host, but a host who just occasionally was like a fight referee, just said break apart.
They should have been sort of sitting in armchairs
Yeah.
and just let them go a bit, steer them, or even do 10 minutes on this, 10 minutes on that, and 10 minutes on that.
How would you have liked? Can you answer me in Russian? Well, I'll ask you a question. Just ask, how would
I think
you?
it might be unhelpful to the listeners, but
No, it doesn't. I think it'd be quite entertaining. How would you have formatted the show in Russian?
I have absolutely no idea because we don't really tend to have debates in Russia. We've had the same president for 20 years, so
I understand
But
Russian.
democratically elected every so often.
Yeah, of course.
very. Yeah, I don't want any Novichok in this cup, so I'll no comment.
Are you allowed back to Russia?
I'm allowed, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Where would be a good place to go if any of us wanted to go on holiday for a weekend?
Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Is it nice?
Oh, brilliant.
I would love to go to St.
Absolutely brilliant to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, have you been?
No, I'd like to.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm
yeah.
surprised. You've been everywhere. Have you been?
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful.
You
Yeah,
sat on
she
the panel
goes a
with me,
lot.
so
Well,
you're all
yeah.
banned now.
She's well travelled. Yeah. Sam, you're very quiet, unusually. Should Jo Swinson have been invited?
Absolutely. I think it was ridiculous that she wasn't. No, because you've got somebody who is obviously wants to leave, Boris. You've got Jeremy who doesn't know. So a third person who was the third biggest party to actually be able to say her piece, and a woman. So, that is important as well.
Do you know, I actually thought before the format I wasn't that bothered. I thought, no, the two, potential leaders. But actually when I was watching it, I thought, now I really wish Jo Swinson was here. Just for some contrast.
And it was Dullsville,
so
and we didn't learn anything about anything. We just saw those two going at it again. We see them doing the House of Commons, and she would have been a welcome addition, and she should have been there.
All right, Dawn. Why do the public dislike Jo Swinson
Look,
so
I
much?
really want to like Jo Swinson. She's young, she's female, she's a breath of fresh air. But
West Country.
every time, well, is she? Her accent seems to travel around the
goes
world.
up and down.
It does. Sometimes she sounds quite Russian as well. But
She's a spy.
every time she opens her mouth, I hate her a little bit more. And that picture on the side of the battle bus, she just looks so smug. And then she comes out and admits that she smoked cannabis at college because that's really cool. And I just really went off her then completely.
I read that differently because I thought, how refreshing. No, the fact that she admitted that she smoked cannabis at college and end of, rather than the Tories going, I might have done a line of coke at a dinner party, but I didn't really sniff it.
I was just smelling it.
Anyway, listen,
honesty.
Jo Swinson was accused this week of stoning a squirrel, okay, in her back garden.
Was that the cannabis though?
She said it's fake news. This is not a joke. This is.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm being
You
serious.
know, even though
the squirrel and Jo Swinson puffing
Did
on
she
the
or didn't
palms
she?
right now.
It was a stoned squirrel. Just
so I know.
Story just got a bit wrong.
Okay. I would like our viewers and listeners to get in touch. We could do it on Twitter. We could do it on Facebook. We could do it any way you want. I would like you to tell me who you think so far as you're concerned, is going to win the election. Who now do you think is going to win the election? Jo has said that she doesn't think that's going to be the Liberal Democrats, by the way. Although she did the first week, didn't she? But she's changed her mind. Ricky the Remainer, have we got anything interesting or not?
We've got Mark here on Facebook. He says, why didn't the host of the debate this week let the leaders explain their answers? She stopped every time they attempted to get into detail, which is a fair point. Every time they even attempted, and this is from professional politicians who are the kings and queens of just giving out spin. Even when they try to give something, she just cut them off. There's no
because there are so many rules and regulations regarding fairness in run-ups to elections in this country. You are doomed if you do, you are doomed if you don't.
But it was so superficial though, wasn't it? Every answer we got was just the surface. We got no detail and it's content. This is
because
what people
she
want
was
in a
being
debate.
told, right, they've had their time, you've got to let the other people have their time. That's why it didn't work.
So it was badly produced.
It was just robotic, too robotic, spouting the same thing again.
So we're saying we would have wanted it to go on for another hour, another 2 hours?
I think it could have gone on as long as it would. You see, if you're going to do it, let's do it on online TV programs like this one, or ones where you have less restrictions. Let's do it slightly differently. Let's make it.
I thought they were just trying to cover everything in an hour, and that
Yeah,
was
you
the
can't
wrong approach.
Although they
You're
didn't
better to do.
talk about the climate, however.
And as you say, it would have been so much more interesting to be in a slightly more relaxed environment rather than standing up there behind a pillar where you're like, and to get the juice, to get what these men are actually about.
Did you say to get the juice?
Get the juice, yeah, political juice, babes.
Well, I'm offended.
That's Jeremy all over.
He's offended.
to get
I can see your later sentiments coming out there.
the juice.
May I remind you all that this is going out live on Talk Radio between 7 and 8 this evening as well. Welcome if you're on the radio. Right, okay. Shall we get a little more from Ricky the Remainer?
Yes, we can. I mean, there's still a lot of people talking about Prince Andrew, which
That's
I know
fine. Read
is
them
that
out.
allowed? Marco14, he says, remember everyone, he doesn't sweat. Freudian Slip says, how does anyone remember going to a Pizza Express, especially a one in Woking, which is a delicious. Well, yeah. A normal Christian, interesting name, he or she says, whatever Prince Andrew does, he will look guilty as he can't explain why he spent 4 days at Jeffrey Epstein's house. He lied that he was trying to break up with him, but nicely, it's complete baloney. That wasn't the word used, but I'll insert it for you. And Skeptical One has just said, Ricky is getting a belly too. That's in reference to me standing next to you.
I haven't got one. Where's mine? Look, it's gone.
That's a fine figure of a man there.
Yeah.
I like how they've skillfully managed to insult both of you in one comment
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was quite good, actually, yeah.
I'm used to it. I don't care. In fact, if I'm not getting insulted, I feel I've done something radically wrong. Anyway, listen, let's look on the bright side. If one of them wins, we're going to all have free broadband, aren't we, everywhere?
We're having free everything, aren't we?
Yeah, free everything.
Free
Yes.
stuff for everybody.
So we don't need to pay a TV license anymore. That's obviously going to be free, isn't it?
I really,
According to Nigel.
I really love the idea of Jeremy Corbyn running my broadband. I mean, that would be just fantastic. You say the wrong thing, you go the plug pulled straight away. It'd be like living in Iran, won't it?
Whenever they talk about broadband and things like that, I always get that idea that then neither really know what they're talking about. If you're like, how many G's is that, Boris? Or Jeremy's like, well, I mean, you know, the most we could get.
You see, the interesting thing for me, watching that debate, was that they actually must always be told what they're supposed to say, when and where.
The Dominic Cummings earworm, wasn't
Yes.
it? Just say,
Yeah.
oven ready and get it done, and oven ready and get it done. The most
But
fatuous,
both of
bland
them, and
slogans.
I don't know who's doing it, whether it's the same way when Jeremy Corbyn does his press conferences and everything else, and they have all the sort of fans, it's like some kind of cult, you know?
Pause for applause,
Yeah.
basically,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you know,
yeah.
I think
Da-da-da.
what you get as
I'd
well
take
is
the
you just sit
audiences
there and
away.
going, is this the best we've got?
Right.
You know, you
Well,
look on
it's
both sides of the argument and go, is this
It's
it?
the same with Corbyn, isn't it? Like, he keeps saying, I've been extremely clear about Brexit. And you just sit there and you go, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And actually, I think Dawn Foster went on BBC this morning. Or Dawn Butler. And she said that the idea that Labour hadn't been clear about Brexit is fake news.
Do you know what? I'm not going to vote Labour. I'm going to vote Lib Dem. And
We
I'm,
don't
I'm
really
not,
need to know
no,
what
all right,
you're
it doesn't
voting
matter. It doesn't
for.
matter. You vote whatever you like.
Thank you very much
No, but
indeed.
I just wanted to say that I don't understand why people think it isn't clear. It's not unclear. They're like, we're going to get a different deal and then we're going to do a second referendum. And I'm
They
thinking,
won't say
gonna
which
vote
way
against
they'll
it.
but
campaign.
does it matter? If it
May I
wasn't-
just,
It's clear
before,
that
hang
it's
on,
not.
all of you,
People-
shush, just
Sorry,
before we
Dad.
go any further, may I say, and people can vote for the Liberal Democrats if they want, they can vote for the Conservatives, they can vote for the Greens, they can vote Plaid Cymru, Scottish Nationalists, they can vote for Independents,
Or the
Labour
guy-
Party,
the guy
Conservatives,
that
did
had
I
a
say
bucket
that?
on his head
Yeah,
one
they
year.
can vote, monster raving
Well, you
loony.
can't vote for
You
Nigel
can
Farage,
go
he's
out
not
and vote for
fine.
anybody you
You
like.
can vote for the Brexit Party.
Yeah.
But not Nigel Farage.
Rich, will you stop it?
He's always got a bucket on his head.
Honestly, she doesn't like anybody.
It's like
he
Stone
calls
No, that's
him
fine.
Because he's
Up,
not
up, up, up.
standing.
Oh no, he's not, is he?
Flipping
No, that's
heck.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can't be. He couldn't be prime minister, could he? Because he couldn't be an MP. You've got to be an MP first, haven't
Yeah,
you?
helps.
And as he says, you know, he doesn't want to be an
come
MP. Would
up
you
with
want to
that
be an
idea.
He doesn't want to
MP?
be an MP because he's lost 8 times and he knows it's not going to happen.
Ricky!
Yes.
Help.
What would you like? No, I just want to put something
Have
out
you got
there.
any-
No, you can't have that yet.
Okay.
Why Jo Swinton thinks she can be in these debates, the leaders' debates, absolutely, I have no idea why. The Lib Dems coming out and saying that it's sexist is the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard in my life. But if you look at the number of MPs that the Lib Dems have, when the election was called in 2016, they returned 12 MPs, I believe. They're now up to 21. And for some reason, they think they are whatever kingmakers or potentially prime minister. The SNP have 35 MPs. So why wasn't Nicola Sturgeon in there? The Lib Dems
Well,
then come
Nicola
back.
Sturgeon is not in Parliament, is she? So
No.
So
No,
it
but-
would have to be the leader of the SNP in
Ian
Parliament.
Blackford.
Ian Blackford, yeah.
Which is fine, but he could also be a party leader in Stormont.
I want to see more of this, by the way. I don't want us to be so bored with that last debate. We're never going to do it again. It wasn't worth doing. I want to see more of it. I want to see more.
There's
They're doing one at the
there's
moment.
Boris
There's
Johnson
one
isn't-
right now.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
nobody's
no,
watching
you wouldn't
that.
be watching that. No.
They'll be here. Look, don't be
Rubbish.
silly.
Much more fun.
It's such a mess, isn't it? Can I just say on the point where you kind of implied the Russians were responsible for Brexit?
I was joking. Well,
I know you
sort
were
of
joking, but
but
look, if we were responsible for Brexit, the one thing you know is Brexit would be done.
Yeah.
Right? We'd be out. We would have taken a chunk of France with us. It would be over, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Normandy.
Yeah.
That's
No,
part of
Normandy's
Britain.
good.
Yeah, Normandy's part of Britain.
It was discourse that they were looking for,
Yeah.
which is what they got, and,
Yeah.
and chaos, which is what they got.
Not being able to see that report, though, is just...
That's
it's-
ridiculous.
Where do we live? It is
Yeah,
extraordinary. And then Boris Johnson gets asked, and he just says, oh, I didn't think it was necessary. And we can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I'm hoping we all sort this Brexit thing out and move on because I am getting thoroughly bored with the whole thing.
You'll
and
be
my
asking for the
views-
Russians to get involved by the end of this.
I'm pretty sure they're already involved. And if I go home tonight and find a black car following me, I'll ring you. Yeah.
I'll be in the
My
car.
dad says that he wished we had a dictator. At least would get stuff done.
A benevolent dictator, I've always said.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would be. Okay. Let's talk have I got some time to carry on? Have we? Oh, result on the vote so far, Victoria.
Result on the vote?
Victoria.
What were you on about?
Victoria.
No, I haven't got anything on a vote. What
Well,
vote are we
why
doing?
is the producer shouting in my ear, go to Ricky?
That's it.
Oh, for goodness sake,
I have
never
no
mind.
idea what's going on.
So anyway, the Green Party,
This is just like Brexit, really, isn't it?
the Green Party promised to legalise cannabis. It's a big party in town.
They didn't. They said decriminalise. That's
Oh,
different.
for goodness
That's
sake.
different.
Just
Very
legalise
different.
it.
Different.
Because Swinson wants to legalise it.
Because she wants
the
to
Green
stone more
Party.
squirrels. That's why she wants it legalised.
Decriminalising just means that if you're on the street and you've got a joint, then the police can just let you go on its possession. So they don't have to.
Yeah, I understand the
It's a
difference.
lot-
but-
They kind of do that anyway,
Yeah,
really.
but what is the point of having
Yeah,
these
they're too
things
busy.
in the criminal element? You can't combat it, so you might as well legalise the stuff and deal with it like you deal
Absolutely.
with people who are alcoholics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you could go into what they're suggesting is go into a shop, a chemist, whatever, and buy your marijuana, which would be measured and it wouldn't be cut with anything and it wouldn't be laced with anything and it would be sort of medically. Because I tell you what, if
Would
someone
people be
brought
able to
out
grow it on their
alcohol,
allotments or
if
not?
someone brought alcohol out now to the market, people
Yeah.
would go, "What is this?"
And saw
We
people out on the
take-
streets on a Saturday
yeah,
night, they'd be
exactly.
like, oh my God.
So it's the
Yeah.
difference between me going, "Here we go, I've brewed this, I've brewed this
yeah,
myself,"
yeah.
or you can go and get a bottle of wine at the off license.
Exactly. Oh, so I think it should be the same
With
with
my name
cocaine
on it.
and heroin as well, I
Yeah,
think.
it would stop it. Where they have done it in certain states in America and in Portugal, HIV's gone right down, and the deaths have gone. All the drug-related deaths have gone to barely
It
anything.
takes away the drug dealer's
the-
livelihood, basically.
Yeah, and
so
it
they
stops
can't-
so much
Do you
crime.
think it
know,
might
It's such a
encourage?
no-brainer, isn't it?
Well, do you think it might encourage
very
people to
funny.
try it though? If it is
You're the only one
decriminalised
that
or
gets my job
legalised?
sometimes.
Let's try it anyway if they want to
People
try
will
it.
Yeah.
I don't think so, no. Because I think if it's
Can
available.
I
in
bring
Tesco-
something else in?
Sorry, we're talking too much.
Yeah,
James.
you are.
Do you
Can I bring
Tesco value weed.
Hang on. Can I bring something else in? I didn't know Jeremy Corbyn had suddenly got religion. Did you?
Oh,
wanna-
not another one.
Oh God, the Messiah, yeah.
He thinks he sees the
I
stars.
go do. What is that? YMCA?
And why is it pink? Why is the background pink?
He's trying to
Well, why
catch
is
the
it not red?
balloons that are coming
It's
down.
probably just the print.
No. The Times is very,
He's
very
like
good print
about
presses.
to clutch a trapeze.
But no, it was pink.
No, I don't know.
Messiah,
There's
he's just a
bubbles.
very, very generous boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've done politics, and hopefully in a balanced way. They're all just as bad as each other. And let's face it.
But go and vote, folks. Go and vote.
I reckon
You've got
this
to vote.
time next year we'll probably still not have done Brexit.
We're
probably,
going
I
to be
don't
still
know.
talking this. We're still
Yeah.
having this
We'll
conversation.
still
won't
be
we?
in it.
Yeah. It'd be very good for people like you and me, though, wouldn't it, if they put more money into the pensions?
She's not
No,
going
I'm
to
just
move
thinking, you
for
know.
years.
Yes, I've got a bit longer to go, James. Thank you very much.
So what the producer just whispered to me. It's just,
Okay.
Change your Wikipedia page.
How is
quick.
your head injury? Would you like a matching one on the other side?
Ricky,
We'll start.
are you laughing?
No, I was
Good.
just grimacing as you carried on insulting Dawn.
Like you did last time, if I remember rightly, Ricky.
And it's not an insult. It's not an insult to say somebody's older either. That's ageist.
Shut up. I think you called me barmaid last time, or you read out a comment that was like an East End barmaid.
I just read
Which was a
out
fair
what the
comment,
viewers and
but-
listeners say.
You sat behind a bar.
That's all. People are still asking who you are. So it's Dawn. No, just people are
Thanks.
confused. They want to know.
You're really taking the beating here for no reason whatsoever, aren't you?
We'll start with Skeptical One, who isn't just insulting me now. He or she says, actually, we can't vote for any of these parties because many don't stand in our constituencies. We don't get enough choice, which I guess could be a reason for having proportional representation. So there's a lot of vote swapping going on at the moment, which I think is going to change the future of how we vote in this country if it gets...
Could you imagine a new idea for entertainment at home? A vote-swapping party. You come in and you put your car keys in a bowl in the middle of the table.
Okay,
Where's this going?
We've been to those parties, obviously.
It's going upstairs. That's where it's going.
Unlike Prince Andrew, who didn't go upstairs at all in any way, shape, or form.
He went
in the house.
downstairs.
Is it time?
Photograph
Is
that
it
shows
time
it
to
being
take a
there,
break? Yeah. Okay, you are listening to Talk Radio James Well Show, of course, until 10 tonight. And if you're watching us, James Well breaks the news on Talk Radio Television And you can find us on, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, everywhere, all those social media platforms. So tune into that. You can see what's going on as well. Back after this. Welcome back to James Well Breaks the News on Talk Radio TV and live on Talk Radio as well. Interestingly enough, you're more interested in Prince Andrew than who wins the election, which I find strange. You'd be amazed what we've been talking about during the break. In fact, I'm thinking of putting that in the programme. What do you think, Ricky?
All for it.
All
Particularly that bit we're not allowed to talk about.
right, okay, fine. Let me introduce you to today's panel. We have our friend, comedian and host of Trigonometry, which is a programme, if you haven't seen it, it really is well worth looking at. It's on all social media platforms.
YouTube and all the podcasts.
And it's got millions of people who...
It gets millions of views, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And why do you think that is? Because you look at everything in a kind of, well, the way I like to look at it, really, in a completely dysfunctional way, some people would say.
Thank you very much.
No, I'm talking about myself, really. But it is fun. I mean, it is doing everything that everybody in the media would say, oh, you can't do that.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
we talk to controversial people who have interesting opinions from both sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
We had a guy on recently who said Donald Trump's a genius. And surprisingly, that clip has been seen by almost 1 million people. So,
Donald Trump keeps retweeting it. That's why.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
People with mental health, then basically.
But the other thing, of course, is that it allows us to talk at length to people without any restrictions.
Exactly.
And it means that it's unfiltered and people really respond to that.
Let us just remember we are live on Talk Radio as well on this show too. Just otherwise, Konstantin, thank you very much indeed for being with us tonight. Are you getting funded from Moscow?
Absolutely. I wish I was, man.
A little bit more Russianist here, shall we?
Russianist. Well, they've invented this new word now, Russophobia, apparently.
Oh, really?
We just keep inventing these phobias.
Rushkophobia, shouldn't it be?
Well, that's Russophobic right there, isn't it?
There's a lot
no
of
baby's
people
biscuit.
watching the programme who are Forte-phobic as well. Forte-phobic.
Forte-phobic.
Jemma Forte here, who is very outspoken, and it upsets people that she's outspoken because she's female.
Do you think so?
I think it does, doesn't
I
it?
don't upset everybody. I know,
28 stone men, you were telling me, who sweat a lot. You seem to upset.
I didn't upset him. He offered me some babies. I was like, you're all right, love.
Oh, I don't want to hear. PR manager, comedian, Lovey, a man who on every red carpet, Lovey, yes, Mr. Sam Dowler. I'm surprised that, when Dawn was the editor of The Star, that she hadn't got you doing some of the...
Did we? I was just thinking, actually. Did I get you doing anything?
Well, I had a column at Now magazine, I think, at the time.
Oh,
How long
right.
ago was this?
I stepped down as editor 18 months ago now, so
Oh,
not that long
yeah,
ago.
not that long
All
ago.
right,
I was
okay,
there for
well,
15
we'll do
years, so
the,
you were obviously a
we'll
baby
do
because
the
I'm obviously
networking.
very old.
Thanks
We'll
a lot, Dawn.
do the networking later. Thank you. Konstantin, John Lewis. It's a store.
Thank you.
Okay, fine.
I've only lived in this country for 25 years.
Oh, right, okay. Well, okay. This is serious. We're breaking the news stories. We're getting behind the news. I want to get behind this one. John Lewis say customers can use any changing room they feel like because they don't want people to feel that they are stereotyped by gender. Would you be relaxed in that?
Well, I'd be relaxed, but I know that a lot of women are intensely not relaxed about this. Actually, we had a guest on Trigonometry this week who's a gender-critical feminist who was talking. She was talking about the invasion of female spaces. Women are incredibly angry about this issue. It surprised me how much of a response that video's got because people feel very uncomfortable with, walking into a female space and suddenly finding that there's people of different genders in there. It's very discomforting for a lot of people.
I wouldn't want to go in if I knew, say, Jemma or Dawn were in there. I
I
wouldn't.
think part of that might be a lie, but we'll gloss over it.
Well, that's just a personality issue there, isn't it? But
Because they'd be staring at you, darling.
Do you know what? In all honesty, if you're talking about changing rooms where you've got doors that you go into in a cubicle,
What does it
I really
matter?
don't think it
Yeah.
matters at all. Also, what I'll say is I understand that certain people feel very strongly about it, but actually, I've never been in this situation so far where I would feel uncomfortable, and perhaps the only time I would highlight is my teenage daughter who's at that really uncomfortable age where she's self-conscious and you're going to take her maybe to get her first lot of underwear. Now in that situation, she didn't want to see anybody. She didn't want to see anyone we knew, maybe even the ladies in the thing. She was like, don't want them to come in. In that instance, I think maybe you need to have a different section.
there is another, Dawn, there is another context where it's uncomfortable. For example, I found myself in a gender-neutral toilet with urinals, and it said on the door that there's a urinal. I was standing there using a urinal when a woman walked in. She was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable. I think pretty much everybody feels.
The door.
Well, but the
You
urinals
know,
are.
you know what a urinal is.
I thought urinals
yeah.
should be
You
round.
mean
They
they
should be
were
round the
just like-
wall.
Right. So there's men
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
the urinal,
Yeah, that's weird.
and women just walking past, and
But
everybody's
what happens if
uncomfortable.
you're in a toilet and a woman thinks she could use a urinal as well?
She can if she turns around and crouches down on it. If she was desperate, I've seen ladies do that before at concerts.
What concerts do you go to, Bex?
All of them.
You know how at concerts, basically the queue is always massive for the ladies, massive.
yeah.
I have seen many times ladies run into the men's, and at one time somebody did use a urinal.
Now that's
because they're
another
desperate.
sort of feminist issue. If you've read Caroline Criado Perez, she talks about toilets specifically. If you go to the theatre, right, and it's the loo
Oh my
break,
God, that
the
thing was
interval,
the worst.
the queue for the ladies,
crazy.
all the men have managed to go to the loo, get their
Yeah.
gin and tonic, sit down, and there's lots and lots of reasons for that. It's because women women
just
might
better at it.
take longer to go to the loo because it's time of the month, or they've got this, or they've got that, or
Why
they're more likely to take the older relative or the children and all of that. So there's this thing that you shouldn't have 50-50 space anyway.
I go out.
But if you have a drink though, you tend to want to go again during the evening.
You say, what are you, like a camel?
The thing is, what you're saying, Jim, I understand what you're saying, but if you go to any football matches,
Yeah.
largely there is
She
what,
doesn't.
95% men must be there, but there's still an even split of toilets, and that should clearly be a case where there should be more toilets for men rather than these massive
Well,
troughs.
of course.
This is,
But the thing is, they can use troughs though. That's the
But
difference.
the thing is,
you
it's
know.
like, you know, if you're talking about gender-neutral toilets, I mean, I go to football every week, and we've got West Ham Spurs tomorrow. Now, if that ground had gender-neutral toilets, and the women that go to football had to share the toilets with the men that go to football,
exactly.
I would be like James. I would literally not be going to the loo.
Why? Can anybody tell me why?
I married one.
I sometimes would choose, if it's a small one, I would prefer to use the ladies, because I cannot understand. I mean, some people's houses must be disgusting if all their toilets are they? If all their toilets are like men's loos, and if you're using gender-neutral toilets, some women are going to be really, really upset, because what is wrong with guys?
They piss on
what-
the
what-
seat. They
what-
piss
what-
on the seats.
Yeah, but they all over the floor too.
Why can't you do that, right, boys? Okay, what is the problem?
Yes, Mum.
With actually getting it where it's meant to
Well,
go.
I like a sit down. I'll do a sit down wee, I think.
Well, I'm a
always.
sniper,
Or
so
posh
I'm
wee.
fine.
But a lovely sit down wee in the middle of the night, lovely.
Right, Ricky, any views on that?
Oh, well, some interesting topics here. Sam, do you have a father by the name of Graham?
I do.
Oh, well, here we go.
He
Graham's
hasn't,
been
he
in
hasn't
contact with the
messaged
show.
me. Oh, damn. Oh no. I said he should have that he thought he should have a dictator. Bollocks. I mean, excuse me.
I do apologise.
I
Apologise.
said sex
Technically,
earlier
the
instead of
Sex
rumpy
Pistols,
pumpy
that's
as we
not a
were
swear word.
instructed.
No,
You
absolutely.
remember?
It's
So
not.
actually,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
What's he said?
Well, Graham's not going to be proud of you swearing on air. He's going back to the conversation we had before about decriminalising drugs. He says it could be said if we legalise drugs, as you discussed, it would also reduce knife crime. And similarly, Crypto Badger says legalise all drugs like Portugal, save money and lives, which is another topic which we can get into another time, but an interesting one nonetheless.
Yeah.
Martha
He's a clever
Canary,
man.
she says Andy, which is presumably Prince Andrew, Andy still needs a mummy and Fergie still needs $$ sign.
Fair point.
Fair enough.
Apparently that's what it's all about.
Well,
That's why he did it all to begin with.
Well, he
to
get-
pay off her debts.
Yeah.
All right.
Epstein lent her a
Okay,
few bob,
that's
didn't he?
enough. I don't want to hear him mentioned again.
and Chris Strange, still sad that there's no junkie chase. Disappointed to come on Talk
Sorry,
Radio.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Dip into the
Yeah.
funds and pay up
Yeah.
the royalties.
That's my theme tune from about 30 odd years ago.
When's
and
it
it's
coming
good,
back?
but we can't play it on the TV
The
because.
campaign's for it.
Oh well, campaign for it. I love it. Yeah.
We're all too young to remember it, so I don't need
It's only one person who's campaigning for it.
Oh, there's at least 3 signatures, and I'm one of them.
Well, there we are. There's 3 now. See, fake news. A producer just doesn't tell me the truth at all. Okay. Instagram has banned bikes. I mean, not bikes, likes.
That is a great story.
I would notice that.
Do you know what? That would be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Look at my new bike.
Yeah.
You see, that's very unfair on a dyslexic. Take the mick out of that, isn't it, really? But I'd
a
like
long,
to ban
confusing
bikes
word.
everywhere, but that's another story. Banning likes because it might upset people who don't get any. I don't do much Instagram. I don't really understand how it works. And ever since I put that naked photograph of myself out by mistake, you know, I
It's
got
very much
millions.
it's a mental health problem, basically, because
Yeah.
Instagram is all about people, especially young people, who filter a picture and they put it up themselves, and if they get no likes or people go, "Ooh, you're gross," whatever, then they can end up hurting themselves, being depressed,
I'm
etc.,
going
etc.,
to be really cynical on this one. If Instagram cared so much about people's mental health, they would get rid of the comments, not the likes. I think the reason they're getting rid of the likes is because there's a lot of people now who are making good money out of Instagram because
really?
they're
Monetizing it, I think,
influencers, they're getting paid by brands, they
Yeah.
can show their engagement, and it's like, okay.
But that's
so
the number
suddenly
of
I think
followers, surely.
Zuckerberg is going, I don't like the fact that people are monetizing out of my platform.
Yeah.
How can I make the money? I mean, this is all my supposition, but I
Yeah.
think it's true. And so I think what will happen is instead of having the likes, you'll be forced to promote via them in some way that will get them a slice of their pie.
All I ever see on my Instagram is adverts coming up all the time.
You
Mostly
can turn,
with
you
your
can turn
face
them
in.
off and say they're inappropriate
you?
if you like.
All right.
Yeah.
Report them.
I don't use Instagram.
Oh, fine.
Because I'm an adult.
I find Instagram now is quite like in this game. People expect you to be on it. And
You
they
are,
look-
aren't
And
you?
do it regularly, and do it regularly, and do stories and all that jazz.
What is?
I'm
Hang on. What is
massive-
your
I-
Instagram?
At Jemma Forte, which is my name with a J.
Well, yeah, go and have a look at Jemma Forte with a J on Instagram because she's done one here. She does one everywhere. Go and look at
Yeah,
them.
but if
all.
you're the 28 stone bloke who wants to give her babies, don't.
It's like, I've raised two, they're teenagers, I'm not going back there. Particularly with someone I've never met.
But your teenagers, are they on Instagram?
No, because I'm on it, so it's super uncool. And
Oh, I
actually,
see.
the next big thing, yeah.
You've-
you know,
You've
are they on
taken the bullet
TikTok?
for them,
Yeah.
really.
They're on TikTok.
and this is the other thing that's what's going to happen is
Which we have no idea what it
Instagram
is.
will probably stop if they take the likes off, because let's be real, that's exactly what it is a sort of popularity calling card. And they will then invent the next social platform, which will be the same format. So I'm very cynical about
Sure
this.
they wouldn't. I'm sure they wouldn't get rid of something that's going to basically destroy them. Would you think they would do that? I don't think Mark Zuckerberg's that foolish.
No,
Because you still have
it
a
won't.
load of followers.
No, I mean, what I mean is I think they will come up with the next thing. Yeah, you're right. Then I mean, it's still making big money for them at the moment. But it's very interesting because the other thing is we're all a bit addicted to looking at our likes. So the pleasure centre
Where do you
at the
see your
front
likes?
of your...
Because I've not found that bit. online.
Underneath your pictures.
Really?
Often yours aren't in focus though, aren't they?
Are they?
It's just
You know
like
what?
a
If you're-
side.
If you're in a good place, right, and you're happy, I don't think what anybody else is doing on Instagram
But I
affects you.
love
But I
people
think
to
when
be
you
there.
are feeling a bit down, it can amplify what you're already
Because
feeling.
everyone's doing better than you, everyone's having more fun than you, everyone's got a better family than yours, and you're just like,
Well, if you're
A
gonna
slimmer
go, listen,
bottom.
yeah.
the fact is,
Better body.
The fact is, we're coming to you in a moment, Ricky. Don't get too excited. The fact is that if you want to be in the public eye, and if you go on social media, it's like you have your own radio show, your own TV show.
Yeah.
You have to expect to be criticised. Get over it, or don't go on social media. It is like broadcasting.
Yeah, but they're
And-
talking about kids, aren't they?
well, then maybe kids shouldn't be allowed on it.
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I
you
don't
know,
think
Yeah.
they should. I don't think they should at all. I think they
think
should.
you're
Here's a
right.
question.
Should be
Call us
under-
in the
under
next hour of the
16.
show. Do you think people under the age of 16 should be allowed on Instagram? I'd like to know what you think. 0344 499 1000. Ricky the Remainer is here with all your social networking needs.
I'm still Ricky the Remainder when we don't talk about Brexit.
Yeah.
When I was the Royalist, wasn't I, a couple of weeks ago?
You were a royalist, you're a
Yeah.
Remainer.
I got the whole
We can't do any
We're just doing
politics,
the
but
alliteration thing here,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Anything
Yeah.
beginning with R,
Oh,
really.
yeah.
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 There aren't too many rude
Stopping
words
there.
being with R,
Rubbish.
fortunately. Oh, there's that. Yeah.
I thought we were playing a game.
Stuart on YouTube, he says, I agree, get rid of likes on social media. I'm on social media and I'm getting paranoid on the amount of likes I get. Which is a question I've actually got for Gemma. Have you ever taken down a photo because it didn't get enough likes?
Oh! She took a photograph down of her in a bikini once.
Yeah, I did, because I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Doing weird things with it.
Because she told her.
Yeah, but that was because so I've got this thing about like look happy, look strong. Don't be like, I don't do that, right? And
Don't
then I was
do
with
what? On
don't
the
do the sort
radio-
of pouting
in radio,
thing.
that doesn't
sorry,
work,
sorry,
so-
okay, a
Pouting.
pout.
Oh, fine, okay.
But I was on holiday with my friend. She was like, "Oh, put this up." And I just sat there and felt really uncomfortable and kind of invaded all day, so I took that down. But she told me to take down a couple of book review things that I'd done because they had very few likes. And I was like, "Who cares? I don't care. That's part of what I do." No.
I put up a picture of a duck that was it was a beautiful picture of a mallard, my local and my local lake, and basically it got like about 20 likes. And my sister was like, because nobody comes to your page to look at pictures of boring pictures of ducks. They go to Granny Noggins to look
All
at
right,
that.
Constantine.
So I took it down.
Constantine, you had something taken off YouTube, didn't you?
We did.
What did you have taken off YouTube?
Well, that very interview I mentioned earlier in the show with that gender-critical feminist,
Yeah.
she took quite a hardline position on trans issues, and YouTube deleted it because they said it was hate speech, which absolutely wasn't. We appealed it. There was a big kind of outrage about it on social media, and eventually they had to reinstate it and admit that it wasn't hate speech. So yeah, there is. I mean, one of the things that it brings into focus is basically 4 people in the world control all the means of communication that we now have, and they get to decide what hate speech is by themselves. There's no appeal, there's no accountability. Tomorrow, if there's another media outrage, that video can be taken down again and no one can do anything about it. So we live in this crazy world.
If you want to look at hate speech, just look at Twitter.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know, if you don't like people criticising you or being rude about you, stay off social media.
Right.
Now, I'm glad to say we've come to the end of the show, and we didn't have time. We didn't have time for us to slag off Coldplay because of what they're doing, and I so wanted to,
No,
but there we
And
are.
I just want to say thank you, Greta Thunberg, for stopping Coldplay touring.
Yeah,
Top
very,
bird.
very good. Very good.
absolutely right.
Right, Konstantin, Dawn, Jemma, Sam. Have I forgotten anybody?
No, darling. Ricky the Remainer?
That's who I forgot, but I'm always forgetting it. Could you shave that off by next week's programme?
No,
because
no,
it's
can
worrying
do.
me.
I'll do whatever you do. You going to shave yours?
I'm going to shave my legs for next week's show.
All right, deal.
done your chest.
Strong finish.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. Thank you to everybody. The James Welsh Show on Talk Radio continues after the news. Thank you, guys.